Hello, and welcome to Relationships with Rails. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to model a relationship in Rails and create a form with related models in Rails. So, what are some differences you can think of between how we do relationship modeling in Rails versus Active Record, in Rails versus Sinatra, or just when we were doing it all by hand in Mod 1?
We have to write like the keyword has belong, or has many, or belongs to inside the model for that class for Sinatra.
Cool. Can we do that in Rails?
And
Who knows?
this one here.
So far that I've seen, we stepped inside relationships that way.
Yep. So we need to do all that stuff. The has many through, all those kinds of things. That's still in Rails. What else? Anything the same or different? Modeling relationships in Rails versus Sinatra or vanilla? They're exactly the same. Spoiler alert. Active Record is a part of Rails. We've had to use that like Sinatra Active Record package to use in Sinatra because we're borrowing it and we're using it there. This is what it's from. And the good news is that all of the things that we've done before are exactly how we do it here. There's no differences. The generator command is like, we have that now, but otherwise, same shit. So let's do, we did dogs and owners yesterday. I don't want to do dogs and owners again. Give me another 2 sets of models with one-to-many relationships. What you got?
Artists and songs, we've done it before though.
Let's do painters and paintings.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that is a good one. Okay, so if I want to make such an asshole. All right, so I'm gonna make a new Rails app. How do we do that?
Rails new.
Rails new. I'll call it Art Gallery, or like Fart Gallery. Am I right? I'm just on a roll, man. And it's recorded for posterity. Yeah, scoring points. Okay, cool. So we're in Art Gallery now. I'm going to open up the editor and how do I start my Rails server?
Rails S.
Rails S. Rails S is short for, any guesses?
Server.
And another fun fact, if you can do like any number of characters, and it'll figure it out. Did it?
You sure?
Don't know how to build tests. I guess not. I guess it's aliased. There are some of these generators though that just need an unambiguous number of letters. All right, cool. And if we pull up localhost 3000, we're on Rails. Woo! Okay, cool. So we're trying to model a relationship in Rails. What I want you to do right now is let's get slates.
It was very beautiful. It's probably blind.
And I want you,
Yeah.
so with the knowledge that modeling a relationship in Rails is exactly like modeling a relationship in Sinatra, our painter paintings thing, write the steps that I'm going to have to follow to do that. Go. the steps I'm going to have to follow to model this painter-paintings relationship.
Using generators or not using generators?
Using generators. Man, Tina wasn't kidding. There's more chairs in here every day. Oh, that's a great question. So attributes. Let's say a painter. I don't want to use the name. I'm going to call it a go by today. And for their painting, it will have a title and a price and a size. Size is a string. Price is a decimal. And how is a string? And go by as a string. So we have 30 seconds. Cool. Share your steps with a neighbor and see where you're the same and where you're different. What you got?
Generate painters and paintings model, generate painters, paintings, sleep class.
I think this generator
Class 1, sleep paintings,
Cool. So you only need 3 classes. You're doing it.
So the model,
Just one model.
here's the model and
So many would be if we if one painting could be one color, then that's when you use 3 class. But if it's simple one many, otherwise it's
So the big thing is it creates the models for you. It builds individual models, and then if you do have references in there, it'll actually give belongs to inside them. And then you just have to do like have many.
Okay, come back together with me.
So I think it's just this doesn't really. Okay, see, this does like the belongs to.
Chatterbox over here. I'm kidding. Cool. So I don't remember how to do this. What am I doing?
Generating a model.
Generating a model. Does it matter what order I do these in?
Yes.
Why?
Because you cannot associate a painting with a painter unless a painter exists.
Yes, indeed. Bravo. It took us much longer as a class to collectively get there last night. So all right. So I'm making a model. God, man. So I'm going to generate a model for painter. Cool. Made the migration for me. Made the model file for me. And then I'm going to make one for painting. Woo! All right. So if I go over in the in the migration for painters, got this all scaffolded out. What do I need to add?
It has many relationship.
Okay. What even before that?
Whatever that parameter is.
Go by. This is go by. And then it's type. Cool. What mistake did I make here?
T.string.
T.string. There's no reason that T would have a method on it called go by. It would have a method called string that accepts stringer symbol. Cool. So we've got our go by on there, and then Mr. Clar. What am I doing next?
Has many.
How do we do has many? Where does that go? Does it go on painters or go on paintings?
The painter has many paintings,
Yep.
so it goes to painter.
Interesting. So this is a tricky mental thing that we need to get clear on. This is database tables. Database tables, a painting is owned by a painter. There's no a painter doesn't know what things that it owns. A painting knows who owns it. That's it. And so a painting is going to have this like painter ID integer. We're going to have that on painting. Painter has nothing indicating that it owns shit. However, in Ruby, we say that like a painter model, all these models, and this is the painting. We can say this both directions. We can say painter has many, and we can say that painting belongs to. That works in Ruby. These are wildly different ways of thinking about data. In fact, so much so, there's a special name for this kind of mismatch. Anybody remember what it was? Talk about it in Month 1, I think. This is called object way of relating data. This is called the relational way of representing data. Anybody have it now?
What we need to do, or
What this problem is called. It's the object relational impedance mismatch. You don't need to remember that part of it, but what you do need to remember is that this is why we use object relational mapping. Because we always want to be able to say, okay, I have a painter, what paintings do they own? That problem, since we're not storing the data that way, we need to do a little bit of gymnastics, right? And you go, okay, what's the painter's ID? And then give me every painting that has that ID in the painter ID field. That's how we do that relationally, but we want to be able to say painter.paintings here. That juggle is the object relational impedance mismatch we solve with ORMs. But no, in a database, which is what we're setting up here, painter doesn't have any idea about its paintings. Questions about that? That was a lot.
Do we still want to do a T-dot references in here?
On painter?
Painter.
Do we? Think to yourself. Do I do a T-dot references on this one or on paintings? Or both? Volunteer.
Just on paintings.
Just on paintings. Why?
Single source of truth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's data that's relative to the painting itself.
Yes. And all T-dot references does is create this painter ID field. It's just a shortcut for that. There's no other special thing that it does. Good question. Okay, so I have this painter migration. We go over the painting migration. For this one, I had title. I had price, and I had size. And now this is where the T-dot references goes. Saying, hey, and I also want to reference artist, singular. Or say painter. Good catch. Okay, T-dot references painter. Sweet. So what do I do now? What's the next step? Migrate. So Rails DB migrate. Hey, made my tables. And then the last thing I need to do to successfully create this relationship in Rails is what? That'll help, but that's not what I'm looking for.
You can establish relationships in the models.
Yes, we've done it relationally. Now we need to do it object side. So if we pull up that painter model, what do I do for a painter? Has many paintings. And then over on the painting side, it's belongs to painter. Sweet. And then we'll do the seeds as part of the next step. Cool. That is modeling relationship in Rails. Exactly the same as Sinatra. What questions do you have? Cool. You'll do all of these things. That's the model. Hit it. You do them already?
Yeah.
You do them already?
Yeah, I was coding along.
Oh, wow. Who needs time? I want us to all be on the same page for this. Clark, you got the code going?
Yeah.
Okay, so
You don't have to wait on me though.
I want to wait on you. So I got something that if you've already done this that you can do, but try to establish this relationship in Rails. All right. So if you've already done this, what I want you to do is figure out a faster way to make this model with the generator. Because there's extra things that we can pass into the model generation thing. They'll do a ton of this work for us. So you work on that. Otherwise, work on getting this set up in Rails.
With the relationship aspect in it too.
Yep. All that stuff's possible. Try it.
You guys in month 2 then?
Correct. We're on Wednesday of week 2.
Just read this whole article. This guy told me that he tried to and there's no solution. His last was like, well, it didn't have a has many column. That's as far as he got.
For the generator? Oh, it's,
Well, he would have to put another model here.
you use references. So you can do the thing that you want, and then it's type. References is essentially a type. And so you do something like, painter
Yeah.
references. It's with a colon. So title colon string.
I just looked at this. I'm gonna talk outside.
Okay, you're good. Killer. All right, all back together now. So, our first objective was model relationship to Rails. Mission accomplished. So, next thing we're trying to do is use this in some kind of meaningful way. So we're going to do 2 different things. Goal is to create forms with related models of Rails, but we also need to be able to see these relationships. So, 2 things. First, we are going to make some seeds. So if you open your seeds RB file, then let's make a painter called me. We'll do painter, create, and then go by is Kyle. Cool, and then Brian's gonna be in here. Awesome, so we've made some painters. Now we just need to make some paintings. So painting.create. Remember the. So I'm trying to remember what the names of these fields that I made were. Without flipping that board over, how would I find out? What file can I look at? Look at the schema. Yeah! Let's slow clap Jared all day. All right, so title, price, size, painter ID. So we'll say title, price, size, and painter. All right, so a title for this painting. Give me a cool modern art title. Katie, you got one?
Modern title for painting?
Yep.
Probably like one word, you know?
Picasso?
Casa?
Picasso.
Picasso.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, which I've seen in France, I mean in Italy, and I mean in Spain in person. Picasso.
Okay. Clark, give me one. Apathy? I love it.
Like a good sculpture title.
Cool. And we'll make one called, give me one more. Somebody else. Party, what you got?
Should give out great imaginative. Metropolis.
Metropolis.
And I'm going to make one called March Sadness. Hey, do you know that Sean with regulatory, who works out of the office, she won Flatiron's bracket for March Madness? It was contested, but she won because she also got last place somehow. I don't know how you do both at the same time, but whatever, she did. All right, so should take it out on her. $199.99. That sounds like a nice retail price for a painting.
Wait, call the next 5 minutes.
We'll double your offer.
Just very separate.
I love this class. So, all right, so I've got some painters, I've got some paintings. This is how we seed some data for this. I'll give you just a sec to get caught up, but seed your own database with whatever clever fucking titles you want. Woo! I love Kendall's transformation into a woo girl. So the to run these seeds, I'm gonna do Rails db seed. Oh snap! I need to do another thing though if I want to be able to reseed. Anybody remember what it is? I need to what? Destroy all painters, destroy all paintings. Does order matter on this? Cool.
Needs to go to the top vendor.
What does?
They kill all, destroy all.
Mm-hmm. Needs to be the first thing we do. So do painter.destroy all, do painting.destroy all. What order should these be though? Let's take a look at Steam,
Paintings first,
Why paintings first?
because otherwise the reference to the painter gets screwed up. Those are your breakouts every day.
So, yes, since this is relying on this to exist as a primary key over here, if I get rid of this, well, Painter didn't know what his paintings were anyway. If I get rid of this, all these references break. Cool, so painting has to go first. Neat. So, now I can seed and seed and seed, and I don't get overwrites. Or, anybody remember the Pee Wee Herman word of the day? What's the other way I could rerun that command?
You're talking about rolling back and then something?
You say double exclamation.
Double exclamation. Killing me.
Why don't you just hit up and then enter?
Why wouldn't I hit up and enter? What's the advantage of doing exclamation point, exclamation point?
It's one more keystroke.
Kind of. However, think about where your keys are. To do the arrows, you have to get out of home row and then hit up, up, and then enter.
You don't have a boom key?
Versus exclamation point, exclamation point. It's fast to do in real time. And I got you beat anyway. The one that I normally use is,
Actually, it's 4 keys. You gotta hold down shift too.
it's called a chord. Get used to it. So anytime you see this happen, I'm using Vim commands on the terminal. So I can use J and K, which go up and down in Vim, to just scroll through like that. But I'm just pressing J and K there. And then what's also really nice about this is maybe you've been frustrated about moving between words. So I can use the Vim movements for that and jump between words and go to the beginning.
You type J&K on accident all the time. That's always one thing I want.
So quick tangent, Vim is a modal editor. So you see the mode down in the lower left-hand corner. It says normal right now. Normal means that every key on the keyboard can now execute a program. So that can be a simple movement. That can be GG takes you to the top, capital G takes you to the bottom. You can start typing in search commands, give me anywhere in the document that says painting, make it fainting, and then it search replaces them. And then I can press U to undo it. All of those are just typing. If I want to do some actual typing and have it show up on the screen, I can press I, which goes into insert mode, and now I'm just typing characters. And if I press JJ or JK, it puts me back to normal mode. And I can delete those. So, quick tangent.
Why don't you use X to save?
What do you mean?
Whenever you're exiting Vim, use X to save and exit.
X?
Yeah,
I use ZZ.
I was just wondering.
Because I think that's probably the fastest thing. It is a chord, so you got to hold something down. But you hold down Shift and ZZ, it saves and quits. Fastest way to do it. All right, enough Rails talk. All right, so we've seeded our database. Now I want to be able to show a list of painters and their paintings. So what's the first thing I need to do?
We create a list, so UI to have a list.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. So we don't actually do any CSS yet. Soon, 2 weeks. So we're using browser defaults, unfortunately. But we need something that will generate some of this stuff for us. What's the command? Let's make a controller. So we make a controller for painter. painters. Cool, so it made all these files for me. And then I can go over to my router. And then I want to make all the routes. What do I do? Resources, cool.
Routes, resources equal routes.
Resources is a shortcut
To routes.
for making these 7 routes.
Okay.
Cool. So if I go resources, and this is painters, yeah. Resources painters, that gives me the 7 RESTful painter routes. And since we're rocking this, if I go to /painters now, I was just think to yourself for a second, what error am I about to get? What's the error going to say? Yep. Keep it to yourself. What is the error that I'm about to get? Mr. Clark.
No route, or view.
No view? Anybody think it's going to be something different?
No get or path slash.
Cool. What's the thing that it's missing? That's what it is, but action. It's missing the action. The controller exists, but the index action doesn't yet. So if I hop over to the controller, and I do def index, okay, cool. Now I have an index action. What's the next error I'm going to get? Somebody else.
Make a route for painters.
No get route for painters? Anybody think it's going to be something different?
Thank you.
If I refresh this, what's the new error? Now it needs a view. Cool. Nice.
I was thinking that, I know that would
There you go. Cool, so it's missing the view. So let's go make one. I actually don't know. Is there a generator for views?
If you type it in whatever, I think you generate the controller, it will generate a view for you too.
It made the folder. I just don't know if it made the file.
I think we're gonna do generate
Resource. Yep, I think you're right. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, make a new app views index.html.erb. Cool. So now I shouldn't get any error. Oh, interesting. Oh, I think I know I did it wrong. Anybody see it?
the painter.
Yes, exactly. So if I do app views index, I need to move that to app views painters.
and text editor you guys use too.
Oh, was it?
What text editor you guys use?
So I'm using Vim, which I wouldn't recommend any.
No, I'm using either Sublime or.
So what are you guys using?
VS Code.
Any other Sublime folks? I think there's some Sublime people back in the classroom, but we don't care.
Okay, I just didn't know if you guys had like a specific one.
Nah. Anything that like you think is fun, you'll probably get more action out of.
Okay.
So if
I've used brackets and Sublime.
oh yeah, brackets is awesome.
Yeah, I like brackets.
Cool. So now I'm not getting an error anymore. I'm also not getting anything. So what do I need to do now?
Add a list of views.
Yep. What am I going to iterate over for that list?
Gotta get all the painters.
Got to get all them painters. Cool. Let's take a look at the index. So I'm going to make an unordered list. Now I need to iterate through. So I'll do painters all, or sorry, painters each. Give it the give the old block. And then we'll do. God, I did this yesterday too. I'm already regretting using go by. Should have just used name. Whatever. Well, yesterday was worse because Kevin, what did I do yesterday?
You did a dash instead of an underscore.
It's so bad. So it was something like that, which doesn't work. What's your prediction of why that doesn't work? What is it going to try to do with that? Subtract it. It's going to try to call the go method on Painter, take the result of that, and subtract by the local variable. Stupid. So the way that we got around that, should you find yourself in this situation, and there's also really legitimate reasons to do this. Every object in Ruby has a method called send that takes a string of a method that you want to call on that object. What's powerful about this is that can be dynamic. Go by can be a variable. And so if you want to be able to call a variable action on an object, that's how you do it. All right, but I did a little bit better this week. So if I do that, I should see my list of painters. Hooray! But our goal is to also show their paintings. So I want you know everything you need to know how to do this. I want you to try to implement this list. Also show each painter's paintings. Go.
On this same index page?
On this same index page. What you got?
I was just thinking about how to do it. It was not enough. I need to handwrite stuff to remember it.
My handwriter as well.
Could you call on paintings
From what?
from that, from painters?
From Painter.
That's right, yeah, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. You most certainly could.
Show me your tree. Yeah, I need the same thing with it. That should be called index HTML.
Mr. Willard, you found the beat. Got it? Oh, that sucked.
Our co-challenge is on Friday, correct?
It's a complicated story, but yes,
Okay.
And it's pretty much just gonna be this, right?
pretty much like this.
Did you say you wanted that same route?
Yep. Indeed.
You just have pagers instead of pages. Pager.pagers.
There we go. There we go. Yep.
What you got?
Had a type of get you on there and finding that just square away. So just getting started. That's what
Is there a chance we're gonna be remote tomorrow?
There's a chance,
We're just following Denver Public Schools, right?
roughly.
Okay.
Like, we make a judgment call, but like that's a pretty good go-to for me because like if DPS is closed, then people are gonna have childcare issues. So, sure, including me. Look how serious he is.
Is that your son?
Yeah,
How old is he?
he's 6.5.
Nice. I think Matthew was 5.
I made that shield for him. He's really into Legend of Zelda right now. So like,
That's cool.
yeah.
I like his long hair.
Oh yeah, his hair is awesome. And this was also
Sweet.
his very Legend of Zelda. He's got his bow and arrow in his backpack.
He's ready to go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's going hunting.
Did you play through Breath of the Wild?
I am like trying to not finish the game right now. I have like 12 shrines left, and I'm just enjoying it. But like, I have a feeling I'm pretty OP at this point. All right, Jared, did you get it?
Mostly there.
Okay, cool. So let's talk through how we do this. All we have to do is take our painter local variable, get its paintings, and then do the exact same thing. We can just each over that. And we can format that however we want. Magic. Questions about this?
So is there a way to write this without having to write multiple ERB tags?
Why, yes, there is. How would we do that?
Use a link to? Yeah.
Link to would make a link to that show page. How would we do this without that?
What are you trying to do?
We're trying to not have 3 sets of ERB tags.
Oh, okay.
Katie, you got any ideas of how we could clean that up?
Let me think for a second.
Yes, we totally can. We use 1 set of ERB tags.
Yeah, I was gonna say related.
Yeah, let's interpolate it. So we'll make this a string. Oops, wrong language. So we can interpolate that, and we can, I did it again. We can interpolate that, and we can, third time's a charm, and we can interpolate that. And that, oops, I also need to close out the string. That should work too. Hey, and it did. So kind of up to you and your team whether that's easier to read than the multiple ERB tags. I have noticed that Ruby people seem to use the multiple ERB tags thing a lot more. I don't know why. I would kind of prefer something like this, but your mileage may vary. Other questions about how this works, why it works? Cool. So our real goal here, though, is to make forms that allow us to create paintings and then associate with those with painters at the same time.
And then link to yourself and things as well.
Yes, exactly. So let's make a paintings controller. We're going to go Rails, generate controller paintings. Actually, let's try resource. Let's see what happens. Rails generate resource paintings. Conflict. Zoinks. So what happened here?
Try to make a migration file.
Also tries to make the model and the migration, and we already have all that shit. All right, that was a nice idea. Let's go back to doing a controller.
You can just skip over it, can't you?
Probably.
If you add like index after paintings, it'll create the index view.
Maybe that should just skip it.
If that's what you're trying to do.
Fuck it. Let's do a controller. And we'll say, all right, we also want paintings. We could also, since we're not using all the routes, how do we like narrow that down? Because we get all 7 with this. We're not using all 7 though. Anybody remember how we do that?
Only keyword.
Only keyword. Cool. How does that work?
So you need to give it a view.
Do I?
Got it. Type only right here.
Okay. Only, and then what?
And then colon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the view.
Cool. We could also do that in an array, right? If we wanted multiple ones. Hey, it still works. And we don't get a like, where's my controller, man? If we try to do something like painters new, there's no route for it. 404s. Cool. So we've got that going on. And now we got paintings. And we'll do touch app, views, paintings, index.html. We want to be able to list them. And then, geez, scare me half to death.
He's just breaking it.
Yeah.
His screen.
Do the same thing we did before. Paintings is painting.all. Then we need to make that the view for it. We can use a lot of the stuff that we did before.
So Rails routes know which restaurants to create based on which view you give it. Thank you.
Yeah, so if you're using conventional names, if you're doing index.html.erb, if you're using new.html.erb, and you're putting it in the right folder, all of that just works automatically. You can override any of that if you want to, but the convention is that if you name it that way, it all just wires up. What was the thing Crystal said yesterday? It was like, let Rails do its thing. Paintings each. Painting title. Cool, so I should be able to go to paintings now. What did I do wrong? Oh, anybody see what I did wrong? This is kind of an interesting one. So I did this. The syntax highlighting is kind of funky, and I get this. Y'all are gonna have this problem too. What did I do wrong?
It's not URB.
It's not an ERB file. So the kind of interesting part about that is that means that you can also just send raw HTML. It doesn't have to be ERB.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
Money on meter. Can
Uh,
we
oh,
do it here?
Yes, we'll probably be another 15, 20 minutes or so. And this is a very powerful path, but I'll get you back into fourth
Thank
floor.
you. I'll be quick.
And yeah, I found out, so if you use Rails G controller
Uh-huh.
modeling, if you just add like the index thing or whatever you use after that, it will
Uh-huh.
create it beautifully. So
Beautiful.
just like index new show, everyone you want.
I love it. All right, cool. So now I have this ERB file, so I should have a list of paintings. There we go. That was like Katie's long game. She's like, I stole this laptop. I was just trying to get a badge to WeWork, man. Okay, so now we want to be able to add a new painting. So what helper do I need to use?
You want to add a new painting?
I want to be able to get to a page that adds a new painting.
Oh, a link to.
Link to.
I was like, what's a helper? Oh.
Is this equals or no equals?
Equals. There's no logic, right?
You can do logic in here. The big difference is that it shows up on the screen. So without the equals, it doesn't show up on the screen. Oops, and I'm having a very Vim specific problem right now, so I'm going to get out of that. And there we go. So I'm going to say link to. What's the first argument to link to? Ooh, is it the path? I don't think so. Good guess. It's what the text is. So I'll say add a painting. And then the path. And so I want to link to the new path for paintings. I don't remember what the name of it was though. How do I find out?
Rails routes.
Rails routes. What's up, Dina?
Hey, RESTful routes, RESTful app with.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me look up the thing for it right this very now. It is. let's do convention over configuration also. And
So, alright.
let's make sure we do this one, and not the next one. And so,
Can you pop those in Slack?
yeah, done.
Wonderful.
What about the student channel as well?
It's not a secret.
Perfect, thank you, Kyle.
You're very welcome. All right, cool. So we're doing link to. I want to do Rails routes. Cool. So it gives you the name of all these things. New painting is called new underscore painting. And so new underscore painting path will give me the path for that. Cool. So, womp womp.
Did you need a comma after your link text?
I have made that mistake so many times in the last couple days. It's goofy Rails syntax. Everything's optional. Right up until it isn't. All right. So now I can add a painting. Cool. Needs an action. Action new can now be found for those painters. Controller. Sweet, now it's missing a view. App, views, paintings, new.html.erb. That should make our last error go away.
Nice.
Victory. All right, so now this is where we're really getting into the meat of this objective. Goal is to be able to create a form that adds a painting as well as associates it with a painter. So if I look at my new HTML ERB, we're going to use the form helper this time. So let's walk through what that looks like. What's it called? Anybody know? Form 4. Cool. And what is it a form for? What was that, party?
Your painting's object?
My paintings object. It's a paintings. I'm only adding one. But where's that variable coming from? I don't have a painting local variable here. Cool. What should it be equal to? But find? It's a new one though. Dot create. If I do create, it's going to go, cool, what things am I passing in to create this with? And it's going to save it. I don't have anything yet. They haven't entered anything. Painting.new. Cool. So now I have this like empty painting object. And I think I need to do this in a do block. And we're going to use F as our local variable in this block. Okay, cool. Now what? I totally forgot how the form for syntax works. You're going to forget how the form for syntax works. So I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock. Look it up. Look up how form for works. Man, I'm being roasted by my own podcast on Twitter. It says, if Kyle Corbally texts himself in the future and asks himself not to eat as many mozzarella sticks, that would be more effective than an article that says mozzarella sticks aren't good for people, which is why personalization is effective. Come on, man. I need to put my mozzarella sticks drama on blast. Okay, so help me out. How am I writing this form? Step 1.
Another DRB equals
Mhm.
F dot text field.
Cool, for like title.
Yeah, I like that.
Awesome. How am I going to know that that's the title though?
You know, title in front of it.
There's also a label helper. Actually, I think that takes a string. Let me see. F dot label rails. So it takes 2 symbols. The object and the thing. Cool. So this should be. Oh, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. F label. No, it's a symbol. All right, cool. So we need that for title. We need that for like size. We need that for price. We're not going to use text field though for price. What's the helper? F dot. Oh. Other helpers of interest. Let's see, there's radio buttons, check boxes.
It's not text area tag, is it?
Nope, text area is big box. Anybody see it? Number field. Cool. And just to be clever, and we're running out of time. I was gonna say we could make a size a drop down also with the, is it select, I think? Select helper. Yeah, we'll look at it later. So this should generate the form for me, which at this point is only missing one thing. What is it?
Submit button.
Submit button. Thank you, Mr. Clark. F dot submit. Add painting. Cool. So now I have my form. This works. What we need to do, last part of this, is the relationship. The helper that I'm going to recommend that you use for this is called Rails Collection Select. So it works like this. We use collection select. We pass in these things, and it will generate a drop down and do all this cool stuff for you. What I'm gathering from these last helper things we've done though, this first thing here, we actually already have that because we're doing F dot. This is if we're doing it out of nowhere, we can pass in a model. But this is really going to be like post dot. Oh no, actually no, we do use this one directly, I think. Sorry about this. These are kind of cryptic, and I think they're poorly documented. Kevin, do you remember what they are?
Yeah, it was like I wrote it down really with painting ID, which is like the ID of
Mhm.
form key.
Yep, correct.
And then that's different than what we have here, but that would be like all the painters.
Yep.
All like the whole, that would be like the list that would come out.
Yep, the list of objects.
That would be the primary key or the I forgot what we said it was. I don't remember whether it was a primary key.
It's the key on here we want to use as the value in the select drop down. And what's this?
And that's what the options would be, or would be like the go by, like the attribute for the.
Well, more specifically, if this is the value of the drop down option, this is the
Key.
text.
This
It's
is
the text that shows up in the option. And then this is an option hash. Okay, let's give it a shot. So if I say f dot collection select and I pass in the ID that I want to use for this, it's going to be painter ID, and the list of all of the painters, which they have it there as painter.all. Can anybody think of why I don't like that? We've talked about it before.
So you want that logic in the controller.
Hmm?
Don't you want that logic to be in the controller so it's
Yes, exactly. If you think of the MVC pattern, we interact with the C interacts with the model, C renders the V. If I can do painter.all, now your view knows about your models. I don't like that. I think there's like plenty of Rails people that do that kind of shit, but I would rather have that done in the controller and then run it down the view. Okay, so we'll say painters is painter.all. Cool. And then we're looking for the thing on painters that we want to use as the ID in the option. Let's do ID. And then the thing that we want to show up in the select. So there, go by. Awesome. Let's see what that looks like. Holy shit. There we go. Cool. So when I submit this form, what action is it going to try to take?
Post.
It's going to try to post. That's the HTTP method it's going to use. What controller action is it looking for? Create. So over in paintings, we have to have a create. And what am I going to do?
now we do the painting not create.
Painting.create. And what goes in here?
Rams.
So that's not going to work. Why?
Because it's got the token and a bunch of other stuff in it.
Yep. And it's also like strong params won't let us do it. We could do something like go by is params go by. That works. Why? If I have all these like strong param restrictions, which we'll talk about later today, why is that still going to work?
Because you're explicitly defining what it should look like.
Yes. That's not. Okay, so there's one other like kind of twist to that. You're right. When I say, hey, I'm calling this create method, I have this thing which will evaluate to this string. This is exactly like if I hard-coded whatever this resolves to in this hash. When the create method actually gets called, it has no clue that like this came in from the params because this expression already evaluated. It is interesting. I think it is. So we'll talk more about like the strong params way to do this. Just know that, like, and you've probably done it in the labs already. We'll make a private method. We permit some stuff. We require some stuff. Let's do this by hand for right now. Say go by size is params size. We say that the price is params price. And then we say that the painter ID is params painter ID. Okay, so that makes a painting. Should do that association for us.
Go by should be titled.
Oh, you are correct. Good catch.
Sorry.
All right. So, title, size, price, painter ID. So that should make it. What do we have to do now? Last thing.
Save it. Wait.
Nope, create saves it for us. Cool, everybody mumbled the correct answer. You gotta redirect. We're gonna do redirect to, and I'm gonna say let's redirect to our painters page. You don't have to stay in this paintings thing. So I can redirect to painters, maybe. Let's take a look over here. Yep, it's called painters. So if I redirect to painters, we should have everything we need. Let's give it a shot.
Do you not have to write path after it?
Nope, I absolutely do. Good call. Okay, so size big enough. Price 10. And this was made by Brian. So when I add painting, oh, didn't do it. Interesting. How am I going to debug this?
Check out what the params are by putting a bind and prime underneath create.
Okay.
So
So
I'm assuming that it's probably passing in some bad params.
could be. So let's. I'm kind of curious. Did it make the painting anyway? So I think even before that, we can do Rails C. And I can do something like painting all. And is it in there? Is it called take flight? No. I don't see it. It did the redirection though, so it got through this action. Other ideas? Yeah.
Are they nested inside of painting? So do you have like params painting too?
There we go. I should always have somebody who's done this lesson before come in. These are nested inside of painting.
That's why I would look at params.
Kendall's strategy would have worked too, everybody. Cool. So let's go back to paintings. Let's add a painting. Take flight, big enough. This is Brian's. Oh shit! What? Yeah! Cool. So it added the thing with the association. And by Jove, that That was our goal. So, give me some questions.
What's the purpose of that F dot?
Sure.
I mean, it's a new form,
Correct.
and it's params paintings, it's not params F.
Right. So, where's F coming from? Not quite.
Right from where you defined it up there,
Cool. Where did I find it up there?
after the do keyword.
After the do keyword. So the form for accepts an argument of the object that we're working on, and then it accepts a block. F is short for form, so I could just as easily have made that. And if I designed Rails, that's exactly what we'd be doing. But if you do this, people are going to look at you sideways, as the Rails convention is to use F. But that's what that is. Other questions?
I tried to put in a decimal value in the price,
Mhm.
and it didn't go through, so please enter the nearest.
Ooh. So yeah, let's try that. If you go to paintings and we try to add something that's like 1.2, the built-in validation fails. This isn't actually a Rails problem directly. What is it? Yeah. It's expecting that to be of type number, which in HTML land is type integer. So that kind of makes me wonder, we use this number field, could we make this decimal field? No decimal field. So I would look up for Rails form helper decimal.
You could do like next to the type, you could do like step and then put like a decimal.
There we go. So I could say number field price, and then it takes a hash. So step is 0.1. Let's try that. There you go. That's how you do that. Other questions? Going once, going twice. Sold. Thank you very much. Let's take a quick bathroom break, and then Mark is talking about note-taking techniques, Pomodoro technique, taking breaks, all kinds of good shit. Back in 5.
I do have a question.
Yep.